Hello and welcome to session one, probably 0.75/1 for Girl by Moonlight on a Sea of Stars. Last time we did our series construction. We built a wild series, and we are going to have our players introduce their characters again. And we've got a little bit of more details to be worked out, particularly supporting characters and promises before we roll into the sequence of things and how this particular game works. It's a little bit different, as I've mentioned before, than standard Forged in the Dark, and it's going to take me, and I think you, a little bit to get used to how this operates. I was frantically reading through my printouts today going, okay, I got to remember this, that, and the other thing. So we will see. Hey, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of Open Hearth Gaming, which is an online gaming community that you can find out more about from a link in the show notes. The reason I'm mentioning this, besides me trying to drum up business, is that we are in just a few weeks going to be doing our shared hearth, which is an open gaming weekend. We've done a number of these in the past. These started as a thing right at the beginning of the pandemic that our community wanted to do something to help people who maybe hadn't played online try out some online games. And that's one of the goals that we still have. But it's also to show off some new games maybe you haven't played, and also to show off what we do in the community. It's free. It's 3 days. They're great people playing. All of our games are run with layered set of safety tools. Right now, for those 3 days, we've got about a dozen and a half games on the calendar. I know some people are going to be adding some more. We've got a couple of seminars. So the link to that is in the show notes as well. So you can go and check that out and see if that's something that you want to do. Our signups open on October 24th at noon US Eastern. And then the actual event happens November 10th through the 12th. So that's the thing I'm telling you now. We are going to be beginning here in just a second, but since this is just our second session, I'll go over briefly our safety tools so that we all have those in mind. So again, layered set, everyone knows our X card, our open door, we have our romance matrix, and then for the lines and veils and ask first, here's what we have established right now. Right now we have hard lines on homophobia, sexual assault, torture by PCs, and transphobia. And then we have veils on dental horror, eye injury, harm to animals, and sexual content. So that's the kind of the fade to black moment there when that happens. So I'm going to have us introduce characters again. So we have that in our mind framework before we go to those supporting characters. Looks like, Sherry, you are the second tab here. So I'm going to start with you. Would you please introduce your character to us again so we remember who they are?
Sure.
And change your name on the overhead display.
So
Not overhead display. That's
I
showing
like
my
that.
that's showing my age right there. Get the plastic sheets to put up on the thing.
Okay, so my character's name is Man in Stone. She's of the Ursus 9 Cathedral. This is, of course, the series is the Divine Engines. She her true name is Chevalier, which just means female knight for the most part. She's an ace pilot and a naive idealist. She is, and has been all of her life, a dutiful servant of the cathedral, which is now gone. It is one of the far reaches that was, and her obligation is, of course, to be a mecha pilot. And that's kind of what I've got on my sheet. So a lot of the other things we talked about, very minor. She does have decent, like she's got two dots so far in stars. So she could be considered to be a little cerebral, but not like wildly so.
Okay.
And her Her awesome skill is that she's watchful. So when she protects an ally, she can take +1 to my resistance roll. When I gather info to anticipate possible threats in the current situation, I gain a +1 effect level. And my transcendent ability is How Dare You. So when I strike back against someone who has harmed one of my friends, I gain +1 effect. If my action succeeds, I recover 1 stress.
Excellent. Excellent. I have to ask a question before I move further. Patrick, are you the person who fixed the sheets to provide the space for the pictures?
Yes.
Please mark a point of XP for your playbook,
Woo!
because I forgot to do that, and you stepped up into the breach.
Well, thank you.
Desperately scrambling for character pictures before we started. I was like, okay. Oh, right. Lowell said a thing.
So we know who Man and Stone is. When we're referring to your character, do we call them Stone? Do we call them Man? Manny? Manny. She, her, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Patrick, tell us about your character.
So I am playing the Enigma playbook, and my character is Sia. His name is Theseus. That's the name his parents gave him, but that's very embarrassing. So it's Sia. And he is a person not really exactly suited to the life that we're in. He is very much a dreamer and artist, but good enough with technology and mechanics to get a job here on the flagship. Taking care of the systems and the engines and stuff, but his real goal out here was to see the weird leviathans and unliving and dead things that are out here, and sort of do a natural history, get information and pictures and stuff of them. Anyways, in an attack on the last bastion, one of the dead engines came back to life and bonded with him and chose him to go out and help defend the last bastion, but Sia doesn't have the skills and was terrified and is really not made for the stress of battle, and so had to pretend that he was someone that could handle this, that this wasn't horrifying, that this was all normal, and he was professional and skilled and experienced, and this was all fine. And something about the weirdness of being in the last bastion god and bonding with an engine created someone in his mind that could deal with this, created Radiant, another person that lives in his head and has a lifetime of experience in danger and action, and has the reactions and everything that he needs to live this life, but he's also a super secret alter identity. So the Enigma playbook is about playing with that secret identity in both sides. I have my Shrouded in Secrets move, where no one can unmask me without my permission. So Radiant really is a mystery even to the military authorities, at least where we start here. I get a plus when I use my mundane identity to cover things up. And then my transcendent ability is the big reveal, and when I transcend and go into Radiant, I disappear from where I am, and I can reappear somewhere else mysteriously and make a big entrance and shiny things like that.
Excellent. That brings us to Ethan.
Yeah, so I'm playing Zavi, he, him, who does not have a true name, because we all kind of suck. Zavi sucks more than anyone else. They can't, or he, I was looking at private pronouns are. Now he can't transcend. He doesn't particularly want to be here. He was the second choice by a lot. But the person that they chose over him when he applied 3 to 5 years ago died recently, and so when you sign on the dotted line, apparently it's good for a few years. Who knew? So yeah, he's back here. He doesn't particularly want to be.
Excellent. And you're picturing them maybe as a little bit older than the others.
Yeah, I think like not like maybe 20. I mean, it's anime. Everyone, disintegrates at age 21.
Yeah. You're just a little bit taller, which indicates you're being a little bit older. So that makes perfect sense to me. Last but not least, Tyler.
Yes, I am playing Octavius. Folks could call him Tav if you'd like, he, him pronouns. His true name is Terminus. His role is Forbidden Lover. Background of failed savior. Obligation mecha pilot military. And he is the time traveler, which means he is fated. I traveled through time to change another protagonist's fate. What dark fate are you here to prevent? Whose fate is it? I came from a timeline where Bastion has fallen, and as it was falling, I don't know if I even know why or how, but Bastion used the last of their power, presumably to give me this ability to get away. Either that or maybe it was somewhere innate when the change was made to make me a mecha pilot. But regardless, as Bastion was falling, I went boink and appeared in this timeline. And I want to ask something, or have a thought here.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of talked about how there's one of the engines, Regulus, that I don't recognize, was not in my old timeline. We don't recognize each other, that sort of thing. Sort of implies that there was a me here. I think that I appeared and just took over their spot. Like, they are no longer here. And we got
Fair.
the part in this, kind of in the show aspect of what this is, that there was like a season before this. So there might have been the whole figuring out who, getting myself integrated would have probably been last season. And we can talk about, going forward, how people know that I'm not the Tav that people grew up with or whatever. But so I'm here now. And I think I've chosen my fated person to be Sia Radiant. I think something happened right there, either close to the fall of Bastion or during the fall of Bastion, that has made me come here to save them.
Okay.
And we can play with what that means. It certainly doesn't mean that I know of Radiant. That's up to you to decide.
Do you think you're here to save Radiant or Sia?
Well, I don't know. Patrick would have to decide if I know of Radiant. But I think I know that there was something happened with Sia right at that moment that is extremely important.
Okay. So we'll say Sia, but yeah. We'll establish that you don't know the Sia Radiant thing. Does that seem? I think we should definitely keep it that way, because that'll make it more complicated. And then somebody else should assume an alternate identity. As their,
definitely. Yeah, 100%.
Are you good with that, Patrick?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm fine with you having come back for either. Still keeping the identity divide, but it's interesting if you're coming back for Sia. I think that's neat.
Yeah, I don't think I know of the Radiant back then. So unless you've told me here, I wouldn't know it here. But I know that something happened from Sia, quite possibly because of Radiant, that caused trouble back then. And I think another part of it is I was always in love with Sia over there. And not knowing what caused the fall of Bastion from Sia is something that haunts me. And, while there is that idea of, do I love this Sia? It's not my Sia, but it is a Sia sort of thing hanging out there because it's teen drama.
Yeah. All right. So we've got 2 more steps to do here. The first of these is the secondary characters. Basically, you just have to come up with a couple of secondary characters. Ideally, they should be on the Bellerophon, but if you want a secondary character that is somebody you communicate with on the Last Bastion, or a family member from there, or whatnot, that's fine. But these are characters that will have NPCs you can interact with, that you have a connection with, or a rivalry with, or something of that sort. So we're going to kind of go around, and I'm going to ask each of you to give me one, and that way maybe if people have some ideas, we can build off of each other's. It does mean that Sherry, who is in the second seat, which means first seat for this time, gets to start us off with a secondary character.
Yeah, I think that I would like to make another pilot. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Yep, from the other team.
Rival team?
Okay.
Yeah. And let's see here. I picked out a picture for him. That's the most important thing. I think his name is Torin Solbrine. Solbrine. And he is
A hottie.
he's a hottie, yes, but he's also sort of the second in command of the in the first team. There's only 4 of them, but they have like this whole, which of them is in charge, and then they have a hierarchy through the thing where like all 3 of them are ranked, and then the 2 through 4, compete from time to time to be second command. Well, Torin has been second in command for a while, so considers himself settled in that situation. He would very much like to boss us around because we're new.
So Team Arcturus, second in command.
Mhm.
Okay. Patrick.
But he's hot too, so.
And he's hot.
Yeah.
So let's see. I have a picture. I'm still working on a name.
Okay.
I'm going with rival mecha pilot team as well.
Okay.
Let's see. So there's a picture. And I think she's that like rival for Sia because of how like calm and confident and collected and together she seems. She is like the top of the class cheerleader, prom queen, everything sort of character, and puts off these like waves of confidence that just makes Sia melt.
And a name? Oh, not all the words.
These names aren't helpful.
Oh, you're looking at the name suggestions?
Oh no, I was just looking at a generator, which is not helping.
I think there are some suggestions on the series sheet.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I like Lenneth.
Lena, okay. Excellent. So she's from Team Arcturus. I'll put that in the notes there. Excellent. Competency personified. Ironically, I will misspell that. Zavi. What is the
Uh,
second character that you want to add?
Yeah, so I've got Alyssa Crow,
Okay.
who is I mean we can put her on Team Arcturus too, why not?
Okay.
She is or she's from where is what was the thing we created the last time? What was it called? Oh, the Last Bastion. Yeah, she's from there. And she is very well suited to living there. Because like, you know how you have to keep that sort of wall between, to prevent the, dead god's emotions from overtaking yours. She is just completely unflappable. You have no idea what she's feeling. She doesn't want you to know. Maybe she's not feeling anything. Who cares? Just like, you don't know whether she's nervous or not. She doesn't look nervous.
You think she's in command of the team?
um, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Team Arcturus, sign of Last Bastion. Excellent.
Just utterly unflappable person.
Excellent. Tyler.
All right. My first one is Calliope.
Okay.
And that is Tav's sister and a bridge, like a lesser bridge officer here, a pilot slash navigator for the Bellerophon. And I think if not the first, possibly the only person that knows that I replaced her brother.
Ooh, interesting.
And we've had a complicated relationship.
She, her?
She, her.
Okay. Excellent. So Sherry, I come back to you. Who is the other secondary character you'd like to add?
All right. I would like to add a character who is our counselor.
Okay.
Essentially, and I think her name is, or their name is Cora. And let's say Cora. Oh. And she, he, depending on their mood on the day, they are a person who looks different all the time. They literally, so far as the new pilots can tell, they wake up every morning and they create a new persona for themselves. And in some ways, it's as much an exercise for us as a ritual that they have, is that you have to be adaptable. You have to be aware of yourself and where you are in that place. And they are menacingly kind, I think is maybe the best way to put it.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to put that in the notes here. Again, misspelling things, but there we go. All right. That brings us back to you, Patrick.
Let's see. I want to make someone connected to Sia rather than Radiant.
Okay.
So I think like a buddy that he can hang out with.
A fellow mechanic.
I think maybe someone that works in the computer systems rather than the like mechanical systems.
Ooh.
You know, sort of.
He's in anime, so he has to be a hacker, right?
Yeah. So someone, you know, like similar technical fields, but not quite the same sort of. They don't exactly work together, but they can meet up and commiserate and talk about similar things.
Does all that god hacking and such.
Mm-hmm.
Pronouns?
I haven't found a picture yet.
Okay.
Name is Cetus, though.
Okay. So computer person, hacker, friend of Sia. Okay.
And
Excellent.
I think like mirroring a little bit of Sia's duality, like a very sort of quiet, shy person in person, but you know, on the computer over a connection like that suddenly turns into like the gamer god sort of persona.
I like that. Excellent. We'll have you hunt for an image. Ethan, who do you want for your second character? Secondary.
Need a name. I put a picture in there and I don't know a name. Based on the extreme number of scars on this guy's face, I think this is a former member of our team.
Okay.
Who is now a mechanic or something, who like still works on the mechs and the ship, but no longer actually flies them because he can't anymore. Got hit on the head way too many times, and
went into eclipse.
Yeah.
In a first season we flash back to seeing, you know, him screaming in his mech and the mech crashing down and you rescuing him out of that. And
actually, you know what, he got injured in however my predecessor died, like in the same incident. I think. And how he feels about me replacing him, who knows?
Excellent.
So I've been using him, so I'll continue to do that. He needs a name.
Yes, he does.
Find a better source of random names here. Had a good one and it disappeared. And I don't remember it. Oh, come on. Something I can pronounce.
That is always the trick.
Yeah.
Always sound it out in your head. I've had that come back and bite me in the ass before.
Yeah, either I can't pronounce it or like I pronounce it in a or you know, I can't actually pronounce it, but I think I can.
For me, it's that sounds like a cool name, and then I say it out loud and it sounds like something else, and people start like, snickering.
Yeah, that's always fun. Okay, I need to find a different generator.
I'm gonna let you chew on that for a second. I'm gonna come to Tyler, Bishop Cranach. You are unmuted, I believe.
No, but I couldn't find the screen to talk to everybody. Oh. So I couldn't talk when I couldn't see you. Yes. So I've got Bishop Cranach there, him. Sort of what I'm envisioning is he is the link back with the religion on Bastion, and as such is also kind of the node or nexus where we work our communication rituals and stuff, because we have that whole religious aspect to how we use the tech. He's sort of the head of our religious group that travels in the Bellerophon.
So not the captain, but our most senior member of the Theotechnic Society. Okay. I like that. What's the personality trait of this guy? How does he relate to you all?
I think one of the reasons that he's here is he's tough. He's been in combat. And he believes in the mission, but he doesn't believe in the bullshit he's part of the one that puts out the bullshit about us. He's not one who has to believe it.
Okay.
So he doesn't put us on some pedestal. He doesn't believe that all of that, gobbledygook that goes out to the masses. He's there to hold us to task and to, using guilt or threats or whatever, keep us doing our job.
Okay. That sounds good. I like that very much. I am going to come back to Ethan. Do you have a name?
Yeah, this is Soren.
Okay. Good.
I was thinking maybe he went by his former true name, but no. That's just his name.
Good name. I'll come up with some crew. I'll add them in as we need to here. We've got those characters. These are characters that you have connections with. So I want you to think about that. So Tav, we've got your sister, and you should think about why are you connected to this priest? It's not really a mechanical thing for it, but just a sense that this is a character that will be potentially having scenes with. Now, the other thing that we have to do is you have to come up with a promise. And I'll read through how it's described in the book so you have a sense of this. Promises will include one of the other protagonists in some way, and you'll earn XP during play by working towards keeping your promises. Players should share their promises as they come up with them so everyone knows how the protagonists feel towards each other. Conflicting or impossible promises or enduring sorts of trauma, and reviewing each other's promises will help the group spot opportunities. So the examples they give are, I swear to capture that meddler, blah, blah, blah. And I will confess my love to X. If this is an in-character statement, a belief about something you will do or will never do because of how you feel about another character. So imagine it that way. They give another example. They give a promise of martyrdom. I will give my life to X when the time comes, or for X when the time comes. A misguided promise. I won't let my love for X stop me from doing my duty. A paradoxical promise. I'll show Fallon the way things were and can be again. Or an intimate promise. One way or another, I'll make sure that X finally notices me. These are not set in stone. These are a little bit like entanglements. They can get changed over time as the circumstances go through. So, Sherry, we come back to you. Do you have a thought about what kind of promise Manon would make to another protagonist or about another protagonist?
So, yeah, I do. And I like the idea. Could it be essentially, is it anything that they came up with themselves? What if our priest, our bishop, excuse me, said that under no circumstances can I allow Tav to perish. Like, I have to make sure that no matter what, Tav lives.
So that should be a personal thing that
It
you
has to be
feel.
personal. So
Yeah.
I feel it because I am, like, does that make any sense? Because I've been raised in the cathedral, that them telling me that is actually like my ordained purpose, like my purpose.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
I think that seems fair. Does that work for you, Tav? Okay. So that kind of establishes that. Maybe you're still trying to puzzle out why.
It's a sort of faith that this must be the right thing, but
Okay.
not yet any sense of why.
Patrick, I believe that you have to make 2 promises. So which one do you want to start with? We'll come back to you on the second one.
Doesn't everybody do 2?
Yeah.
Does everybody do 2?
Yeah. I have
Oh,
a promise
I
of
think so.
martyrdom and a promise of protective,
see.
protective promise. That's why I have this weird one.
See. Oh, it says for each of these prompts. Okay, I see. I missed that in the book there.
But I was gonna say, because I was looking through the examples and they had an enigma in the examples, and they like split up promises between one identity and the other. So I think I am gonna make one of my promises as Radiant and one of them as Sia.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to make a promise to particularly one or the other of me, that'd be neat too.
That only makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I think a promise for Radiant. I'm gonna go with a secretive promise.
Okay.
And I think Radiant sees the hero inside Zavi. And I think Radiant is determined to see that he brings it out and that everyone sees the hero inside Zavi.
Okay. Does that work for you, Ethan? Excellent. So that brings us to Zavi. Which promise would you like to do first?
Let's see. I have a naive promise and an impossible promise. I love that these are just like, yeah, these aren't happening. Just right up front about that one. I think the character that Zavi would sort of at least think they understand the best would probably be Sia, not Radiant, Sia.
Right.
And what is a good naive or impossible promise I could have made Sia?
Help get them out of here.
That's good. I like that. Yes.
Like, you know that he's not supposed to be here. You know the whole story
Yes.
about him getting caught up, and you're determined to help him get off and escape from this life.
Yes. Perfect.
Does that work for you, Patrick?
Yeah, I like that. That's neat.
Okay. Tyler, what about for Tav? Which one do you want to do first?
I'm going to do my paradoxical promise. I will save Sia no matter how many times he has to die.
Okay.
Oh no.
Good.
oh dear.
Do you think that you've done this loop before?
Well, I hadn't picked up the move yet, but
but that may be something you remember later.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
There are some really dark moves in the Time Traveler.
Yeah. That brings us back to Manon. Manon, what do you wish to do for your other promise?
My other promise is supposed to be a protective promise. And I think that it is that whereas Radiant wants to awaken the hero, I think that in Zavi, I think that I am sure that if I can protect him long enough, he can learn to do this. And that is like that I can do that I can protect him long enough for him to learn to be a good pilot because I was protected.
Not that he will ascend or learn transcendence, but that maybe he'll pick up some skills.
Yes, exactly.
No matter how long it takes, I will make this guy competent.
Exactly. Yes, I will.
Marginally acceptable.
Yes. Excellent. And then Patrick, what promise do you want for Sia? I assume you'll unmute when you start telling us.
Oh, yes. I was whining.
Okay.
I have an intimate promise. I'd like to link to Manon, but I'm not sure quite what that is.
Well, one of the things to be is we have a whole thing that your characters are kind of taught not to express emotion. Maybe it is about trying to figure out what emotion or reaction or express that to Manon in some way.
What do you mean?
I mean, I guess I'm thinking like so if you do have a crush or strong or even a familial feelings or something like that, like you've been taught not to express those or even understand what those are about, right? That's just an idea. You also have the dynamic of Tav's affection for you and whether you are recognize that or not.
I don't know. Come back to me.
Sure, absolutely. These are toughies, I think, in a lot of ways, especially the second one. Ethan, what do you want for your second promise?
I think Manny's dedication to the cathedral, I think, is trying to think of exactly how to put it because I don't know anything about the cathedral like as a thing right now. But I think I'm suspicious of like that just reflexive obedience to it she has.
So is that something you want to come to understand, or is it something you want to disrupt, or is it something
I want to
else?
disrupt it. I want to convince her that like I want to show her that the cathedral's gone. You know, you don't have to like you don't have to obey the cathedral anymore. And I don't know at this point whether it's because I have seen like a dark side of the cathedral or if it's just like a thing I think, you know.
I think we can
just
find that out and
suspicious.
play. I think that
Yeah.
that promise opens up some avenues.
Yeah. So many that obeying the cathedral is I would just say that she doesn't have to obey the cathedral
Okay.
anymore. For right now, that's yeah.
I think that's fair. Back to you, Tyler.
I have a forgotten promise.
Ooh.
That over here.
And I think it's that I promised Manny that I would help her. I'm trying to figure the best way to word it, but
Sure.
I promised Manny that I would help her hear the word of Bastion on what her purpose is. And I think this was way back in, Octavius Prime.
Okay.
And to that Manny, and since that's sort of slid from my mind.
I like it. Patrick, do any of those help you frame up? Or do you want to wait and hold off and think about it some more?
I want to think about it some more.
Sure, absolutely. No, there's so much going on, and you may see something as an opportunity in play as we go on. So those are our promises. At this point, our characters are set. Our world is set. Let's take our first break here, just because logically this makes sense. So let's take 10, and we will come back, and we will look at the structure of play and our first mission. So I am going to stop the recording. So Patrick, you wanted me to check in with you?
Yes. So if you're cool with this, Sherry, I went with I will help Menon find someone they can truly connect with before the weight of separation breaks her.
Okay. I don't know what it means. So
I don't know. I just
I like
think
the idea that because you're two people, you assume that everyone is. Does that make any sense?
I sort of feel that with Menon. I think Sia feels like she's wearing her persona heavily, and that idea that like he sees a fragility in her that will either break or solidify into something that never moves again.
That's good observation. I
Very
like
nice. So we're going to begin. There are, as with all Forged in the Dark games, there is a structure to play. And unlike other games, we begin with a different phase than we normally begin with. We begin with the phase of pain, or the phase of obligation. And in the obligation phase, we're going to check in with you in your daily lives, and we're going to see how that is wearing you down in a number of ways. And we're going to go around. Sherry, you're going to love this. Why don't you everybody pull up the roller?
Okay.
Sherry, what is your lowest attribute?
They're all terrible. One is my highest. Most things are 0.
Okay. So
Mine is 1.
Okay. So you have a choice. You can roll with sun or moon.
Oh, this is a resistance roll.
Yes. You can roll with sun or moon. If you're rolling with sun, the obligation we're going to kind of play out, it involves scary people or circumstances, or is physically taxing. Or if you're rolling moon, it's an obligation that breaks your heart or drives you to despair.
I like moon, maybe.
Okay.
I really like the idea that I have to go to my weekly counseling with Quora. And Quora never lets me give her the answers that I was taught to give.
So, Cora, is there? Tell me something about what the counseling office looks like this time.
This time, Cora made it look like what I think they think the cathedral looked like the great cathedral, like where the celebrations were held. And I have to go and sit on the steps up by the dais with them, which is the thing that you would never do. You would never sit on the steps, and you would never turn away from the symbols and the
So tell me, Manny, today I'm going with Manny. We'll say Manny. Manny, remind me, because it slipped my mind. What is the name of your teammate who was so brutally killed a few months ago? The one who was Soren's friend.
it was Aura.
Remind me what they were like.
They were always prompt for check-in. They passed all of their tests and checks without fail, had always done so. They were the ones who would come to speak with everyone who was not on the team that would be going out. They were the diplomat.
So a valuable asset, you would say, to the team.
Yes.
Do you think that your team is going to be able to continue and thrive in their absence?
Yes. We will do this thing.
Have you kind of put that back behind you?
No. Why would I put it back behind me? It is part of the process of looking forward. I don't understand what these questions are about.
Oh, just my curiosity. I just, whenever I look at your personality profiles, it seems to me that you are constantly stuck in the past, trapped in your memories of your time here at the cathedral, and bound down by those things. And that you'll never be a true, fully human until you can actually begin to work your way past that. I was working for an analogy.
I'm a pilot. That is my job. That is what I will do.
But it's not necessarily who you are. Would you please roll me that moon now, Sherry? 1d6.
Oh, that is the cruelest. A 2.
So you are going to mark 4 stress.
I stand up and I go, I do not think this is helpful.
Well, we still have 15 minutes, so I don't really care what you think. Sit down.
Very well.
That was quite a little outburst there.
Not understand what you are trying to accomplish.
No, that'll take a while for you to get that. I think we'll cut there. Sia, what is your lowest?
Oh, it's that non-existent moon stat.
Moon stat. So this is a heartbreaking obligation there. So in that case, what do you think that is for you? What is heartbreak? Is it a call from home? Is it somebody getting transferred out? Is it remembrance of tragedy? What do you think we see here?
So it's my obligation. So it's something along mechanics, but it's not fun. Certainly not here at the beginning. So it's not getting to work on the engines. It's having to work on the ship. And if it's tragic and emotional, it's probably having to like fix basic infrastructure systems in an area that was damaged in an attack and people were killed, and there's probably like body recovery still
Yeah.
going on in the area.
Bishop will say, we've got a large amount of Leviathan effluvium in the crawlways from the last attack. See, I'm going to need you to go down in there and get that cleared out and ejected. We tried to do it with the hydraulics, but it's very clear that someone's manually going to have to tunnel crawl in there.
It's between the hulls again?
I wish we could get lights in there to help you with it, but as you know, sometimes the effluvium is photoreactive, so you don't want to wake it up.
I just I feel like we could come up with some sort of automated system or something.
Oh, we have, but it's broken, so we turn to you.
All right, give me the sprayer.
Here's the scraper and the sprayer and the thermo bucket. Let's have you roll 2d6.
Oh. It's a 4.
So that's not bad. That's only 2 stress. What do we see on screen?
Um I think it's just like a series of scenes of people like in various rooms along the ship, like relaxing or having a pleasant conversation, or like they're in the mess hall and eating, and there's just this like sound of scraping in the walls near them, and finally at the end of a very long shift, like he comes out the other side and it's just awful colors.
Absolutely. That weird where there's heating from the interior ship and coldness of the void of outside. And so you've got that weird hot cold. You probably kind of got almost a sunburn on half your face as you come out of there. Zavi, what is your lowest attribute?
It is a tie between sun and stars.
So, sun is an obligation involving scary people or circumstances, or is physically taxing. Stars is social pressure or setting off your anxiety.
Hmm. Let's go with sun.
Okay. So who is the scary person or the circumstances or the physically taxing thing you're involved with here?
Hmm. Um. very good question. I feel like it's something unnecessary, like or unnecessarily difficult. um like this could be easier if I knew like what was
Are they maybe putting you through some additional drills and testing because you haven't yet been able to kind of hit that level that they want you to?
Yeah, they probably are. Yes.
So there is an officer. They're the essentially, that they're called the engine training officer. They're older. They may have been a pilot at some point. You're not sure, but they've got a simulator. What is the simulator like that he's got you strapped into?
It is like just the cockpit of an old destroyed engine.
Yeah. There's kind of vestigial, piecemealed engine sentience strapped to it that they're trying to have you run and connect and get your levels up. Let's have you roll Sun.
Okay. Four.
So 2 stress. What are you doing better now? Are you doing worse? Are you just kind of maintaining the same status quo?
I feel like I'm doing better until they point out to me that I am not. I think that's why it's stressful.
Why are you so cheerful? You're down another 5% from your baseline last week. At this point, I wouldn't trust
Thought it couldn't
you
really
to
be that easy.
in an engine and carry cargo from one end of the ship to the other.
Well, I wouldn't either, but I'm here.
You need to get better, or people are going to get killed. Dismissed.
Keep trying to tell people that.
And they will send you out. They never acknowledge the fact that you'd like to leave. They always just leave this hanging over you. That brings us to Tav. Tav, what is your lowest attribute?
I'm ones across the board.
So you could do sun, moon, or stars.
I think I'm going to do stars.
Stars, social pressure, setting off your anxiety. So what do you think that is? What is the social pressure? What is it that's kicking your anxiety or something of that sort?
I think it is some sort of team building exercise, some sort of, maybe not even like formalized team building as much as forced socialization between, people my age, this idea of that you need to be able to interact with folks in a decent way. And I'm always on edge that I'm going to be seen as not really me, or that I'm going to say something that's hasn't happened yet. I'm constantly worried those sort of things.
And this is a cohort that's kind of assigned. It is also the fact that they want you to mix and mingle and interact, but not too much. Like, this is a weirdly structured social time, and they're not particularly clear about what's too little and what's too much. Tell me, one of the people here in the cohort, and again, your memories are very scrambled, one of these people in your cohort that you're interacting with, you have seen how they die. Who is that?
Ooh. Should it
Not
be an
anybody who have.
NPC? Okay.
We're going to get a new NPC. Give us a name for this person.
All right. I think this is Rosa.
Okay.
Who is a very talented up and coming tech.
They're maybe a little more emotionally open than some of the others. You know, they come from a colony. They only spend a little bit of time at Last Bastion. And they seem to interpret your discomfort as maybe emotionality, that you're more like them, but you're trying to hide it. And so whenever they do these cohort things, they always come over to you. And you can almost see the clock ticking down over their head. Are you doing okay, Tav?
Yeah. How about how are you doing, Rosa? It is very nice to see you.
Fine. This is they had me working with another group, and they were just everyone here is so uptight.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They are, and you're always so nice and open with everyone.
Well, I feel like I can be open around you, that you get it.
That's very nice to hear. I personally, and it's always that kind of trying to draw back to do the formal look. I often feel that it's hard to make close friends in this sort of work environment.
Why don't you roll that star for me now, Tyler?
Okie doke. That's a 2.
So 4 stress. I think there is that moment when you're seated there and you turn and you look at her, and we've spent some budget on the special effects to show the corpse burning with plasma fire as she's seated there, as you see that shot of her, and she's still kind of turning and talking with you. There's nothing coming out of her charred mouth, and then it kind of flickers back to reality for you.
Be careful, Rose. I'll talk to you later.
Excellent. So that's our obligation phase. That is a thing that's going to happen.
Can we just call it the harrowing?
The harrowing. It will be. So we have the next phase is our downtime phase. And I apologize if I'm going through this a little like slow or working through, because we got to get used to it. You have 4 possible downtime actions. I want to talk about the most important one last, so I want to start with the others. There is help a friend recover. If people have harm marked on them, you can help a friend recover to restore that harm. For our particular series playbook, if your engine has suffered a loss of strength, there's also an action to work on restoring that. These are clocks that are made and build up ticks to recover those things. So that's one action, is helping another character or helping your engine recover. The next one is the classic work on a long-term project. That is just like it is in all of our other things. We set a clock, you do something to create something or put something into play additionally. The last one is investigate, except in our particular version of this, it's called make preparations. basically make preparations is your character going and researching on the Leviathans or following up on leads or things like that, and building up on a track to kind of raise the tier to give you some advantages on your next mission. You get to raise those things up, but you also get to ask a couple of questions from the playbooks for that. So those are the ones that are sort of the most common ones.
There's also make a connection.
And now I'm going to talk about the most important one, which is make a connection. Make a connection is the most important downtime move. I want to tell you that right now. So when you make a connection, you choose another protagonist and describe something that the two of you do together. If it's something that you think the other character would appreciate, their player can offer you a die. We're going to make a roll based on that. Basically an appropriate action roll for the activity that you're doing. If you would only not give a die if you think that maybe it's something that your character is getting dragged on along with and maybe didn't want to do, would be a little reluctant. But here's the thing. We take a standard roll for segments here. 1 to 3 on the roll is 2 segment marks or 2 links. A 4 or 5 is 3 segments marked or 3 links. And a 6 is 4 segments marked or links. And you will record those links. If you get a critical, they get to also mark a link on their sheet. Links are things that you can spend in play. If you look at the character sheet, you will see below the links list, here's what you can do. You or the linked protag you can spend a link to recover 2 stress. You can spend a link to have them ignore a harm tag. You can grant a die to an ally's action. That can be done even if you're not present in the scene. So that's an important detail. And then if they're going into eclipse, and eclipse is if you've run out of stress, once you kind of hit past that, we make a roll to see if you go into eclipse. If they roll a 4 to 5 on that roll, you can spend a link to prevent them from falling into that eclipse, into that bad state. You can also generate links with your engine. And they work much the same way. Essentially, you spend time working with that. Those links will go away when the mission is over. So this is a thing. It is probably the most important thing in terms of having additional resources, given that your character's scantily clad. Given your character scantily clad dice, given your character's low number of dice, it's probably the most important one.
So can I ask something, Lowell?
Absolutely.
So first off, I wanted to point out the links. When you, like, if I rolled to make a connection with Sherry marks all the links on her sheet, and then on a crit, I mark one on mine.
Yes, you also gain a link with them. Yeah, so you're helping each other on
Good,
that.
sort of set it the other way.
Yeah.
But and Sherry brings up a great point with our engines. I know there's the like connect move with them, and when we set them up, there was like one that we can't work with.
Right.
Are we assuming for our series like we're gonna pick an engine and stick with it, or are we gonna like try out different engines and different missions and find ones that fit that way, sort of thing?
So here's the thing, and I've been thinking about this. The book doesn't specify either way. However, the book does specify that engines can get shipped off and other engines brought in.
Yeah, we can go find new ones eventually.
Yeah. So I do suspect that at the start, you'll probably have a connection to a particular engine, but you should also feel free to your character should know that they can swap them around, except for the engine that you can't work with. So I think that's important, because like a real common one is a swap out of engines on the end of mission entanglements. So with that in mind, Sherry, and knowing that our first mission is eventually going to be a standard Leviathan attack tier 1 on the last bastion, that when we'll talk about how that works in a bit, but let's work through the downtime. What's your first downtime action, Manon?
Now I will protect Davi until he can learn to pilot and perhaps grow into his role. So I do think that this is part of it is going to spend some team time with Zavi. And certainly we had lost Aura, so we do need to figure out how to do the things that Aura used to do, to help us be better for our things. So I think that's it, is going, I think go find Zavi.
So Zavi, when Manny comes to you and kind of drags you on for this, is that something you think you're into, or?
Sure. There's not like, I won't say there's nothing to do here, but there's nothing I really want to do here. So it kind of, yeah, cool.
How are the two of you, like, and the rest of your team, how are you regulated within the ship? Do you have to have certain access cards to go to certain places? Are you allotted particular times that you could go places? Are you have the free run of the ship? What do you two think?
Oh, I like the idea that we have access cards, but they can like close that access down at any time. So a lot of times you're like walking around with those cards, maybe trying to go to a place and never sure if you're going to be able to do it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, there's like a game room, and like they shut off your access card if if you haven't done checked off on all of your things that you need to do that week, things like that.
So where do you go to kind of work and hang out, Manon?
I think Manon actually wants to go to where the mechs are.
Okay.
If that makes any sense, to hangar. And essentially, they have that whole protocol for when they're getting ready to go, and just go, we have to go through this. And I think that what it is she goes, go through it with me so we can find the parts that we need to take on since Aura's gone, okay? And Manon is always like really very calm when she's talking, and like she has control. She doesn't laugh or anything ever. She's very businesslike, but she's also like very, when she talks to you, she looks at you, looks into your eyes, and is very serious about this. Like, it's very much, she goes, I think it'll be easier if we just go through the process and see where we stumble. And
so do you think that this is analyze? Is this perceive? Is it empathize? What are you leaning into here?
that's a fine question. Because I really am, as I am with always, when I start out with things, it always feels a little, maybe it's analyze, or maybe it's flow. Maybe she's trying to do it by flow. I don't know what.
So let's look at flow here. When you flow, move with grace, and adapt to your circumstances.
Yeah, that would be the thing. But it might be, but analyze might be the stronger one between the two of us. So.
Well, Zavi will give you a die just by saying that they're going to give you a die.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so I will do it with flow, and I think that's the thing, Zavi, is when Manon does it, she isn't going through it in that way of, oh, there's a checklist. Like, she doesn't even comprehend the checklist. You get that sense
Right.
that essentially what she's going through is, this is her imagining the whole thing, and what, like, she has just sort of absorbed as how the process goes.
Okay.
In any ways, it might be a little disorienting, but that is definitely how she experiences the whole readiness.
So Manon, go ahead and roll 2d6.
Okay, come on, dices. You don't have to be hostile. Oh, 2 5s.
2 5s.
Nice.
So in that case, Zavi, you are going to mark 3 links with Manon.
Okay.
And like, what do we see? Is there any kind of change in Zavi in the course of this? How is Zavi reacting to Manon?
You've done this a lot, haven't you?
And she sort of stops and she goes, yes, since I was tiny, I've been practicing. They knew I would be a pilot. So it's more like how I understand it. And she goes, I hope this is all right. I know everyone else used the lists, but to me, there's just, it's what you do before you start the dance.
Well, you have it all. You could probably be drunk or asleep, or and still,
I don't
I'll
drink.
go through all the motions. No, I mean, whatever. You could. I'm saying you don't have to pay attention to what you're doing.
Right. It's easier if you do that. But it's just practice. See, it isn't knowing anything, it's doing it until you just do it.
Yeah. I used to have a roommate who was a big musician, and that's how she always. I don't think she ever actually thought about the music. She just, like, her hands knew where to go.
Mhm.
I'll stick with the checklist though, if you don't mind.
Nice. We cut there. So Patrick, do we want a Sia scene or a Radiant scene here for your downtime?
I think it's a little of both, but it's good. I suppose it's going to be mostly Radiant.
Okay.
I want to bond with an engine.
Okay. Which of these engines is Radiant bonding with? Which is the one you can't bond with?
I can't bond with Charon.
Okay. So which of the others do you want to bond with?
I think Lyra sounds cool. Who made
Okay.
Lyra?
I think that was Tyler.
Sherry.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, Sherry, do you remember anything about what you said Lyra was like?
Lyra looks like almost like a harp, but there's strings, but they radiate inward all around, and in the center is a sort of clear, transparent ball with, seems like almost flecks of gold like around it, and the strings aren't actually attached to it. They're like just pinging at the ball to keep it in place. Like nothing touches that ball, but there's that frame around it.
Cool. So I think Sia has like set up some back doors in the Bellerophon security system and can do like a quiet launch of one of these mechs to. I think I'm going to end up on like an asteroid or an abandoned moon or something.
Okay.
There as Radiant to practice with the engine. And I guess since this is my first one, we might trade around, but that would mean that Lyra's the dead engine that suddenly came back to life in an attack on Bastion.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I kind of picture that differently. So the engine that came back to life is still around. I had assumed that it had bonded with Radiant in a like an actual sort of hyper geometric way. But they are around.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So what is it that you want to roll for doing these links? Like what's going to be your approach here?
I think analyze. I think Radiant is trying to be very like regimented and organized about this, and so we're going through and like testing all the extremes of Lyra's systems to start figuring out tactics. And once he figures out the tactics or a move, like he'll drill it over and over and over again with Lyra, trying to get everything down and precise.
Let's have you roll that analyze.
And I'm not actually transcendent here, right? So I'm just using
Correct.
my normal dice. Okay. We're just playing with Radiant.
Yes.
That's a 1.
That is a 1. I think actually though we probably should establish that I think given that this is the mech that has a appropriate backstory with you should be rolling. It would give you a die like a PC would. So why don't you roll a second die?
I will take that. That's a 2.
Okay. So you will get 2 links with Lyra. At the end of it, as you are returning back to base, there is that sort of, they don't talk so much as there's a vibration in the air that communicates to you, and they say, are you going back to the other one?
Sia has work to do. He is an important part of this team.
He is a weakness that holds you back. You can be so much more. You are so much more.
I am here for Sia. I'm here to protect him. It's what I'm for.
You are for more than that. You are beautiful and born of the gods, and you could see the whole of the universe if you wanted to. When you are ready to feed me, Sia, then we will move forward.
I think Radiant like opens his mouth to object and can't quite find the words in the moment.
Okay.
And I do have a picture of Radiant there
It's
now.
very striking.
Yeah, I think those like glowing patterns, they're sort of psychedelic. They're sort of like necromantic since we have that whole world of the dead. They shift and move slowly. And it is that tuxedo mask effect of like, it's just Sia without a shirt and glasses and body paint. Like if you bothered to look past the glowing weirdness, it's just him and his features and still his normal hair because his hair coloring works with the whole thing.
Yeah.
But no one recognizes it. Totally unrecognizable.
Perfect.
Oh. I think Ethan said that you took off your glasses.
Yeah. Yes.
Zavi, what would you like to do for your first downtime action?
Is there a list of options again somewhere?
Of the downtime actions?
Yeah.
Let me see if they've got a list anywhere.
I have not found one either. I had to look in the book.
I was looking through all the play sheets. I was like, there's no list of downtime actions.
There's our special one in the stuff for our series or
Yeah,
whatever,
from it.
but
So there are the series rules has the thing for make preparations and bond with an engine. So the 4 are there's recovery, which you don't have to worry about right now. There's essentially create those links, would make a connection. There's do a long-term action, and there's make preparations.
Yeah, why not just go with create links here? Who do I want to talk to?
Yeah, two downtime actions, and you can't make a connection with somebody you've already done that. But Zavi, you could then do that with Manon because it's coming from you.
Okay. You just can't make a connection with the same person twice. I see.
Exactly.
Okay. Actually, I think it makes sense to try to make a connection with an engine as well here.
Okay. So which engine rejects you?
Which Pegasus.
Pegasus.
Yeah.
And which engine besides Lyra for the moment, Charon or Regulus, do you want to bond with?
Let's go with Charon.
Okay. Who made up Charon?
I did.
Remind us what Charon looks like.
Dark, sort of like light absorbing figure, looks like a generally humanoid shaped figure, but like cloaked in something that moves and shifts as it does. Imagine like Cloak from Cloak and Dagger, and there's this like eclipse umbral glow that surrounds them as they power up.
can I make a request that it might not be Charon? Because if you do, I can't bond with an engine at this point.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Because Charon's the only one open for me left, because there's mine that I can't.
Right.
Wait, you couldn't do which one?
Oh, I could do Pegasus.
Yeah.
You haven't done okay.
Yeah,
I can do Pegasus.
Okay. I can't do Pegasus, so okay.
So how do you bond with Charon?
I think I'm convinced that like it's the fact that the simulator is, I mean, it's broken. It's meant to be broken. That's why it's a simulator now. Like it had limbs, but they're gone, and you can like you can see when they're supposed to move, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think I don't actually take off and like go somewhere in it.
Just getting in the cockpit, or are you
I think
spending time
I like
with
get in
it?
the cockpit and like hook in, however, as if I were going to take off. And
I think there'll be that voice that comes down from the bay, from Calliope, that will say, do you want me to power it up fully, or do you want half power? What do you want, Zavi?
half power would be good.
You have only 15 minutes that we can allocate to you. You understand?
All right.
When you get in the cockpit, what is it like? I mean, is it like some of the mechs where it fills with fluid, or is it something else, or is it a gas, or are you just strapped in?
It fills with a gas, but it's breathable, like
Okay.
and it's invisible. It smells a little bit, I don't know, there's a weird smell to it. It's a little bit like
It should be like
sour.
a sour, or like incense. to go with the
Yeah.
religious thing.
Oh, well, you know what smells like sour and incense? Like old pot smoke. Like
Okay,
stale
yeah,
pot smoke.
yeah.
That's what it smells like in this thing.
I imagine that
Um,
the little vents actually look like sensors. Uh,
yeah. Uh-huh.
uh,
So I think I'm like kind of laughing about that because that's what it reminds me of.
mhm.
Uh, and then I noticed that it's also like whatever this is also makes it weirdly darker. It's like the gas absorbs light a little bit.
Nice. So, what is it? Have you flown Charon before, or is this the new one that you've been assigned? What do you think?
I think this is a new one that I've been assigned. Yeah, I
Okay.
think yeah, let's go
Okay.
with that.
So, what action do you want to roll this with?
Let me look at my actions here. Wow, okay. Oh, maybe it's perceive.
Okay. So you have no dots in perceive.
No dots.
Okay. I do think that you will get a die from Charon. This is a very serene, equanimous, saying it wrong again, engine. So why don't you roll with one die?
Okay. That's a 6.
That is a 6. So you will get 4 links with Charon.
Oh, okay.
And Charon will say, "You are here to take the place of the dead."
We all are at this point.
Absolutely. To the dust we will return again. That is our only destiny. But in the meantime, I will help you give the gift of death to others.
That is also what I'm here for.
Excellent. It will be interminable. And I think there is that thing where it feels like you're in there for a long time, and then the gas pops and Calliope comes over. I'm sorry we had to shut it down early.
Oh, that was no problem.
Felt like you were in there for hours, but you're maybe in
Uh-huh.
there for 5 minutes.
Yeah. I walk away sort of halfway creeped out and halfway appreciating its like honesty and directness. Like,
Excellent.
Yeah, that's right.
Octavius.
Yeah. I think I want to make a connection
Okay. With an engine or with a person?
with a person.
Who do you want to talk with?
I think I want to talk with Sia,
Okay.
my fated one.
Yes. Now, keep in mind that one of the things is that like you and Sia kind of move in different circles because he's not a pilot. He's just a mechanic. So like
Just a member of the military.
just a member of the military there. So what do you have to do to kind of get access to them? I mean, he's not part of your sort of social cohort that you've been assigned.
Right. So I think it's like sending a message off to request when Sia has a chance. Could you come by my quarters? Nothing it just an informal chance to chat.
There'll be that thing that will come in from the ship's AI. Please state the purpose of your chat.
I I'd like to discuss some of the work going on the engines.
There'd be that bit where you hear the grinding work assessment discussion approved.
Thank you.
And you'll get a thing. See ya.
Huh?
You've been ordered to one of the pilot's quarters to go over engine maintenance.
What's
Now, we got a
there
narrow
aren't
window on
engines
this.
in the what in the quarters?
You're supposed to talk with one of the pilots about their engine. Some sort of maintenance issue.
There's nothing wrong with the engines. They're all up to. I'll go find out what this is about.
And I think there is that bit of you getting a little hot under the collar by the time you get to the pilot's thing. You know, you've got the key cards and it gives you access, you know, with a little speech with do not wander in this assigned area.
And like, see, can't help himself, like staring through some open doors and looking enviously at the pilot's wing, sort of.
They have nicer quarters than you do by far. And you'll arrive at
Buzz there on
Octavius's-
Tav's door.
I'll enter as you come in. There's kind of electronic trance music playing. Question: does this Sia like it? Because mine did.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Sia?
Yeah,
Come on
so
in.
there's some problem with your engine, supposedly.
No, not a problem. Chill. This is
Just something that you don't think is done right. We need to redo. Is that it?
no. I am. It was supposed to be an informal chat. Did they not? That was the message. An informal chat on engines.
Problem with your engine.
Not a problem. Come in.
Fine.
You want something to drink? A snack?
No, sir?
You don't have to call me sir. This is informal. You know, you've heard the word, right?
I've heard it before. I've also heard commanding officers use a lot of words they don't often mean.
Shit, this isn't going. Look, just here, have. This is and I'll kind of have brought over a picture of some. I don't know how much this gets around, but I brought a little supply back when I was at Bastion last. It's Synthade. This one's red flavored.
Oh, I can't stand red. I mean, thank you, sir.
I
nice.
have some of the orange stuff.
It's, sure. If I mean, I don't want to put you in any trouble.
No, that's fine. Here, and I'll hand you a small bottle of orange stuff. Cookie?
I'm good, I think.
Look, this isn't a trap. I'm not trying to. I just wanted to kind of. I know you work on Pegasus, and I wanted to say I appreciate it, and I think it's important that somebody that does me a good favor, that we're on good terms and all.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm sorry. I'm not used to pilots like talking to other people.
Well, I mean, are we all like total dicks or something?
Well, there's just a certain personality type for pilots, and well, it's can be intimidating.
Well, I mean, I guess it's. I mean, there's certainly some pilots that kind of wear their mech on their shoulder, I guess, use it to lord around. But my guess is it's because they're all a little scared inside.
It's a scary place out there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Octavius, it feels like I don't think you're going to get a die from Sia, at least this time. But this feels like confess, maybe?
Well, I hope not, because I'm terrible at that. But it might be.
Or express? You have a dot and confess.
Oh, I do have a dot and confess.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that one.
I wasn't trying to trap you. I was looking at your stats.
Oh, okay.
So why don't you roll me a d6?
All right. 5.
So Sia, I think you will feel some connection with Tav. So you'll write in 3 links.
Nice.
Let's take if you wanted to put a coda on that first.
No, I was just gonna say on the character keeper, I added a downtime actions section underneath teamwork.
Thank you.
So I have a little note about that.
Let's take 5. Let's take our second break. We'll come back. We'll do the other downtime action, and then maybe we'll kind of stop there because I certainly don't want to start the mission here at the late part. But I do want to finish out this downtime sequence so we can play through that. So take 5, and then we'll come back. So Manon, what do you want for your second downtime action?
Most obligatory that I go and see my engine as well then at this point.
And your engine is Regulus?
Of course it is Regulus. It has always been Regulus.
And who came up with Regulus?
Tyler did.
Tyler, tell us again what Regulus looks like.
Regulus is the big, highly ornate, kind of Baroque looking, all the very Warhammer, top end Warhammer with the curly cues and the looks all grand.
Scroll work and all of that on there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Manon, how is it that you bond with Regulus? This is one you've piloted before?
Mm-hmm. I think maybe actually came from the cathedral with me. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are a long time companions in that sense. And I think in a lot of ways, it's like going to church for Manon, if that makes any sense. It's very much the sort of it's comforting, it's regular, and she knows what to expect when she goes to visit with Regulus.
And what do you think that you roll to bond? And what are you doing? Are you getting in the cockpit? Are you flying it out? Are you just sitting there and meditating? Are you working on the engine? Are you polishing it?
Oh, that's interesting. I like that idea that it is a sort of that sort of tithe of going through and cleaning and touching and like saying the prayers, the sort of things over all of the places in Regulus.
You know, they've got people to do that. You hear Tor and Soulbrine say, shouting down from the catwalk. It seems like a real waste of energy.
And I think Manon looks up and she'll say, well, we'll see who survives, won't we?
Heads off. You go back with your polished silver polishing cloth, and
I do, and I say, Regulus, forgive me, that was incredibly prideful.
there is no pride in wisdom. It is merely truth. What do you think you want to roll this with for this bonding?
Good question. It super makes sense that it's perceive.
Okay.
That in some way she is always seeking what it is that she must do in order to be right and correct. So yeah, perceive, I think.
Okay. Let's have you roll.
Okay.
One
'Cause
die.
he doesn't give me a die.
No, you only get that extra die when you're in the transcendent state.
Oh, okay. All right. A 3.
So you will get 2 links with Regulus.
Okay.
What do you think it is that kind of keeps you from fully linking like you might otherwise?
I think what Cora said to me is still bothering me, and I can't fit it into my rites and rituals. And I find myself thinking about it when I shouldn't be, when I should just be saying the words. And yes.
Absolutely.
So you said how many?
2.
2. Okay.
Sia/Radiant, we are back to you. I've had this weird interaction with Tav.
Yeah, that was strange. But I want to have a scene with Sia. And I think paradoxically, with Manon, he's just like way more comfortable than he was with Tav. I don't know. What if
I also like the idea that maybe, you've seen this exchange between Manon and Torin in Engineering Bay, and then seeing Manon kind of return, and maybe you can tell that Manon is not entirely herself.
so I think he would come to you asking for a favor.
I think she turns and she does that thing. She's sort of very formal all the time, but she sort of stops and she goes, if there's anything that I can do to help you, I would gladly do so.
I know it's probably, just feel free to say no. It's totally like
I have already said
bending
yes.
a lot of. Well, so I heard that they have something new in the monster lab, and like I know they're gonna start chopping it up soon in there, and it's totally off limits and probably top secret or something. But I was wondering if maybe you could pull some strings and get me in there before they start chopping it up, and I could maybe like draw it, take a look at it before it's little bloody cubes.
Could be helpful. I mean, there is information in form, isn't there?
Yeah, and I mean, other than some battle cam footage, which didn't come out very well, no one's ever seen this type before.
I think that is very wise. Yes. I will use my bennies for this.
Well,
And,
I mean, like, I don't want to put you out or get you in trouble with anything.
and she sort of turns, she goes, I've not used any, I have quite a few banked up.
Oh. Oh, what all can you use them on?
When they say no, I can countermand it X number of times.
Oh,
Mm,
like just like an order?
yes.
It's pretty cool.
Try not to use them. Because
Why?
Say no.
she sort of stops and says, because duty is important, must always respect it. But one must always be aware that sometimes important details can be overlooked. I think that you are onto something, Sia.
Thanks. I mean, I promise to be quick.
Okay. She goes, have you ever been close to one of these monsters before?
Well, nothing this big.
They're unnerving.
I've read reports, but
Would you like to
I think
pre-sedate?
what?
Pre-sedate.
You mean like?
Keep yourself calm. Theory, you
Oh,
will get panicked.
okay. Sure. I guess we can party.
And she sort of stops. I will get you some sedation.
So what do you feel this is for this interaction, for this time spent together here doing this, Sia?
I think that's a good question.
Are you going to give Sia a die, Manon? Do you feel like you're on the same wavelength?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm giving him one of my bennies. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm giving him. Yeah.
So is this
I think-
flow or analyze or something else?
I think it's express. It went well, but he definitely came like trying to leverage a favor out of her and talk her into the benefits sort of thing.
Ah, so let's have you roll 2 dice.
A 5.
A 5. So you will give Manon 3 links with you.
Nice.
Excellent.
And
Now, here's the question I have for you. How do you want to handle this? If Manon has 3 links with Sia, are those the same as 3 links with Radiant?
I feel like they should be. I mean, mechanically, it takes a whole downtime action to get them, and they're going to wipe at the end of the year. I don't
Exactly.
want to put
Yeah,
unnecessary restrictions on it.
Yeah, no, I wanted to give you the option on that because I could see it either way, but I like it. Let's play it that way then. Any of those links are considered to be, excuse me, with both of them.
Cool.
I
So
like that because I have the sense that Sia would be considered like the mech for Radiance engine. So
Yeah.
that would be it would be like, oh, I can't let the mech anything bad happen. You know? I mean, I would still take care of Radiant, but yeah.
and Lowell, are you imagining like the Leviathans are singular big monsters out there, or they're like other smaller things?
I'm assuming that there's some smaller ones, but I'll show you a big one here in a minute.
Okay. I was just trying to like I was imagining if this was like one of the megas or just like something that was out there.
I was
whatever.
probably there's a husk of something smaller
That makes sense.
from after a battle. That brings us back to Zavi. What would you like to do for your second downtime action?
Don't forget you actually get a third as well.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, wait, I do, don't I? Wait, I'm on the wrong page.
Thank you, Patrick. I completely forgotten that.
I do. I get it's like one like half a sentence in the description. I totally missed it. Cool. Okay. Well, in that case, I can just talk to everybody, can't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose I could talk to Tav, but I don't know what to do. Describe something that we do together.
Is it drills? Is it some kind of homework? A shift doing something? Additional tasks the pilots have to do, or is it more relaxation time?
What does Tav do for fun?
Worry. No, Tav, I think Tav's a pretty avid gamer. And he also likes to dance.
Okay, we totally have some space put aside for recreation. I'm picturing almost like an old school arcade. But there's definitely like whatever weird sci-fi dance revolution is. It's like holographic, dancing. And
I think there's a little bit of, though it's not quite as fun as it might be, because I think there's a little bit of an Ender's Game kind of aspect to it of them teaching you personal agility.
Everything in this thing is secretly supposed to be teaching you skills that you're supposed to be able to apply elsewhere. How good they are at it is, some are better than others. But yeah, the dancing one is definitely supposed to teach you agility, right? Quick reflexes.
Yeah. Dodge revolution.
Yes. So I think Zavi like finally, earns enough points to get the game room unlocked on his card, and goes to check it out, and finds Tav there.
Hi, Zav. What's up?
Hey, watch out!
It's all about the two-step.
Look too hard. Is there a multiplayer?
Absolutely. I think you'll see me throw my badge down. And all right, get ready to hop in. 2, 1, hit.
Jump in, and I think Zavi is like kind of big and lanky, and looks like the kind of person who would either be very good at like basketball or would constantly be accidentally knocking things over, depending on how aware he is of where his hands and feet are, Normally, I think he gives the impression of the guy who's constantly knocking things over, but I think he's like surprisingly graceful when he's trying to be. So
yeah. So what do you think is the role here that you're making to kind of do this and show off?
I think I'm kind of trying to impress Tav a little bit here.
So maybe kind of defying expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Tav, it feels like you would definitely throw a die.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Do I need to mark stress?
No.
Oh.
No, you just give them a die.
That's a 6. So what is it on a 6? Like we both get to mark them, or
So if
what
you
is
roll
it?
two
How's that work?
sixes, that's a
Okay.
critical. Otherwise, with a 6, because you rolled 2 dice, right?
I rolled 1.
Oh,
Oh, right.
Tav is
Yes.
giving you another. So if you roll another
Okay.
6,
All right. No,
No.
that was a 2.
So Tav will mark 4 links with Zavi.
Yep.
Awesome.
Have a good time. You gotta get in sync with one another here. Let's do Tav. Let's do your downtime action, and then we'll come back and do your final one, Zavi.
All right. I think that we see me go to the hangar, and I'm going to take Pegasus out so I can bond with Pegasus.
Okay. And Pegasus was created by Ethan.
Ethan.
Remind us what Pegasus looks like.
Very like sleek and smooth. I think silver colored. It has kind of vaguely humanoid features, but only in like, I'm trying to think of what a good comparison is. Like it is not shaped like a person.
Mhm.
It's shaped sort of cylindrical almost, and like has kind of indentations that show where like a face would be, and where it does have like, you know, maybe arms that split out, but when they're not out, when they're folded down, you can't see that they're separate from the like you can't see where they separate from the center.
So how you flying out with Pegasus? Have you flown Pegasus before?
Absolutely, absolutely.
How is Pegasus different in this timeline than the other timeline?
I think that's one of the things I've been constantly trying to push on, is to see and find out those differences. But my old Pegasus, from that cylinder, I could make things come out. I could. It was more amorphous back in the day, and I've not been quite able to get that perfect link in where I can shift and change and get it to do all the things I used to do.
I like the idea. You would get a die from Pegasus, but I do think that Pegasus is like, you need to find your grace. You are not as you were before. You have lost a step. You have lost a touch. I need you to be perfect again.
Feels like we get really close, Pegasus, but
But then
somewhere in
you
here,
fail.
those are bad words. We don't like fail, Pegasus.
And yet they describe the situation.
Oh, come on, honey, let's dance.
Let's have you roll a 2d6.
All right. Well, can I use analyze?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, because I'm trying to work through different combos.
So that's 3d6.
3d6. I got a 6.
So that's 4. So you will get like right up to that cusp of getting back into that sync, that 99%, and then it'll kind of fail. And Pegasus will say much, much better.
Thank you. We're getting there.
We are. Fly back. And Zavi, what would you like for your last one?
Well, the only person I haven't talked to yet is Sia, so
Okay.
I'm gonna go talk to Sia.
Sia or Radiant?
Sia.
Okay. So Sia, I mean, where do you find Sia? How are you like interacting with them?
Yeah, Sia's a mechanic, so I think. Oh wait, so let me look at. Yeah, Sia's trying to like study the monsters, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. So I think I also wanted to get a look at the at that monster. So I probably see I like going in and like, hey, can you hold it? Don't close the door.
Oh, sure. Oh, yes. Sorry. Sir.
uh I don't outrank you. I'm pretty sure of that.
I don't think that's true, but thanks.
If so, you're the only one on this ship.
Well, they actually
Did
let
they
you
create a new
into one
lower
of
rank just
those.
for you?
You're a pilot. I mean, yeah, there's rankings and things like that, but you're a pilot.
I mean, that's not an official, and barely. So
Did,
I hear they got a new monster here that is supposed to be back here.
yeah, no, it's really something else. They haven't even cut it up yet either. I mean, obviously there's some like
Well, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be. Look, I've. You're not grossed out by that, are you? I mean, I wouldn't think so. You're here.
well, no, I mean, yeah,
Wait, did you
yeah,
kill it?
at one point. What? No, I mean, I'm just a humble mechanic.
Right. Okay, never mind.
But I suppose I helped, like all of us on the team, help the very important pilots with their mission.
Okay, yeah. Fine. Yeah. Let's see this thing.
No, it's crazy big, and you got to see the weird, like there's this thing off the left side. Look, I can't describe it. You'll see.
So Zavi, what do you want to roll this with? And it definitely feels like you are simpatico, so you can have an extra die from Sia.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I think this is analyze.
Okay.
I actually
So
do want to like look at it and sort of
yeah,
figure out what's going on with it.
let's have you roll 2d6.
Ha! There we go. There's the 2 6s.
Oh, critical.
Oh.
Yes.
So Sia, you mark is it 4 or 5 with the critical? I think it's just 4. But Zavi, you also get to mark a link with Sia.
Cool.
Nice.
So there
Most of these pilots are pretty cool.
We will cut to a little bit later.
This team of pilots is pretty cool. It's the other team that's full of jerks.
And we will see that klaxon as the 4 of you are called up to the bridge. And you will see that our bishop is there, as well as the commander. It's always said commander when he's spoken of. And there are people consulting. We've got the sort of hyperdimensional screens and the computers going on and the tech priests working. And the commander will pull you in and will say, let's see. let's call you Team Bellatrix, because the other one is Arcturus, so we'll call you Bellatrix to go for that A-B sort of thing. Team Bellatrix, the Bastion is not quite ready to depart. We are powering up to do the next shift. However, we have detected an in-system bogey. There is a Leviathan coming our way. We need you and your team to scramble. You're the only engines that are up, fueled, and ready to go. And he'll gesture to a screen, and it'll come up, and there'll be that kind of zoom of space, and you will see that there is this circle, and you can see that it's a circle of enormous hands, like around, and it's just a wheel of enormous hands of different sort of shapes and configurations, and some of them are inorganic and some of them organic, and there is like a spectral set of tethers, like a glowing spider web that comes from the inside of this circle that comes down into this shape. And as soon as you see the shape, Manon, you will gasp, because you will see the Leviathan is coming, and it is Ursus 9 Cathedral, fleshed and undead and coming for you and all you hold dear. And that's where we're going to start off next time. Just to remind you, we know that the Leviathans, a lot of them are the old dead colonies. So we're going to start right out of the gate with that one. We will do XP at the end of the mission when that is done. But just to give everybody a little bit, since we did this, everybody can put 2 XP on your character sheet in wherever you want, on one of the stat lines or on the playbook lines. It's up to you. And if you don't mind, we'll do a quick stars and wishes. Sherry, stars, wishes. Again, stars being things you dug, wishes being things you would like to see more of, like to see less of, like to see for your character. We're still in early days, but I'd like to get your sense of things.
So I really like the characters. I think we started out and we had some good ideas, but it was just joyful seeing them in play, interacting with each other. I'm really looking forward to this. I particularly liked Sia and the Sia Radiant split. Radiant is Sia, but with just different body paint and the thing, and yet completely different personality, and really lovely for that. It was very good. And I loved that Radiant defended Sia. That was good. That was a beautiful touch that will make everything that occurs later poignant and terrible. So there you have it. I love the heart of Octavius, the welcoming one, the one who just wants things to be okay, and the one who is working so hard to figure out why things are the way they are in this moment. It's really, really good. And Xavi is like great, because everyone's pushing on them, and there's this kind of thing of lots of people telling them that they aren't good enough, and Xavi accepting that, and yet just really kind of so easy to interact with, to like the person that everyone can kind of relax around, if that makes any sense. So good. Very nice. I actually like the personalities of our engines a lot too. So kudos to you. Those were very well done. Let's see here. What do I wish? I wish that the dice didn't hate me. There we go. There, and I will always say this: D6s are unkind, and I think the roller always makes it feel even more that way for me. Because I can't even like go, oh, it was a bad funky roll. That's all. No, it's pure random, and it doesn't feel random.
So I've written down I wish that the dice didn't hate me anymore. So I've got that down as your wish. Okay.
Exactly. It's my wish. And it's the truest kind of wish, the one that, it's only the universe can grant it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. It's got a lot of rich stuff. The promises look like they really do give us a way to interact. Do we get a thing when we interact with them?
But yeah,
when you struggle with issues from your promises and obligation. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just getting into the habit of calling back to those as much as possible. So you can do that. Okay, good. Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty awesome.
Excellent.
So, yes. And thank you, Patrick, for putting the downtime actions in. Very helpful.
Appreciate it.
So stars.
Patrick.
Yeah, this was super cool. Lowell, I want to give you a star there for right at the end of bringing back in the dead colonies coming back to attack us, because I had like halfway through the session I'd sort of thought of that, and I was like, oh, I should figure out like what my colony was, and then to have one come crashing through is just it's so good. I can't wait to play with that idea. I really loved seeing everybody's interact with the engine scenes. I love that they made that mechanic for connecting with your engine, and that it's not just like danger room practicing, that we're connecting on a weird emotional level with these things. Lowell, I thought you made them very strange and interesting. And I liked how everybody approached their engines differently. Tyler, I really enjoyed how horribly that scene with Tav and Sia went. How much I could see Tav just like stressing over everything and getting like the perfect snacks and getting everything set up and laid out and pacing over the room and going over it all, and then it just like crashes and burns immediately. Um, so I'm looking forward to like evolving that, but that was such a great and tragic place for it to start. And Sherry and Ethan, I really appreciated both of your sort of reactions to what Sia wanted to do, sneaking in to see the monster. Where Manon was very much just like, oh yeah, you deserve respect, and yeah, I'll do a thing for you. Let's do a thing. I got some time this afternoon. But also your whole like the Benny system and these like treats that we get. But of course, Manon hasn't spent any of them. Like that's so good. And then Zavi on the other hand, just being like as morbidly fascinated and just like excited, be like, oh hey, hold the door. That sort of like fanning out together over the weirdness of this thing and the like amazing grossness of it was a very fun reaction as well. Wishes, I cannot wait to see some Leviathans on screen. I also think this first encounter should be very interesting, because we're not very high level and we don't have a lot of preparations laid out for the Leviathans, but we've done a lot of good like laying the groundwork for our teamwork. And so I'm looking forward to see how we like have to lean on each other to survive this scenario that we're probably not ready for.
Nice. Ethan.
Yeah, I love seeing everybody's characters, and I like how they all have something a little bit unexpected that they did, like Sia being all enthusiastic, like oh, well, we're gonna go see that, or I really wanting to go in and like see this gross dead monster. And thank you for doing that, Patrick, because it gave me something to jump in on. And you know, Tav liking to dance and game, you know, and worry. Tav's 3 activities: worrying, dancing, and gaming.
Hmm.
And like Sherry, your description of the like polishing the mech as like a religious sacrament was awesome. And like having the history of the mech, like, oh well, you know, I brought it from the cathedral. like I grew up playing this mech. I really like that. I like that little bit of that little historical detail there. It's very cool. And Lowell, the mech being like, you're going to feed Sia to me. Excellent.
Anything wishes wise?
Not really. Nothing
Okay.
that I think is not, or that I don't think is going to happen next time. Like, cool, we get to see the Leviathan in action, but I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. So
Awesome. Tyler.
This was a ton of fun. It was so neat to see. I liked how Sia dealt with coming into the, you know, how everything was set up for it to seem the privileged area, and how Sia reacted. That was so cool. I really liked seeing Sia and Manny's interaction. Manny seems like, I don't know if a good person is the right word so much as a decent person. And that is really cool and interesting. And I mean, you can't help but like her. And Zavi struggling to, you know, try and get into doing this thing that they don't really want to do. And the whole, when we saw that first bit of, you know, you're going to get someone killed. Yeah, I know. I've been telling people that over and over again. I can't believe you made me do this. Was marvelous. It was so good. And all of the engines are super neat too. So lots of fun.
Anything wishes wise, Tyler?
No, I think it's going to be awesome.
Okay, gonna be awesome. Awesome. That was I'm very much looking forward to this first mission phase, so we can see and play that out and get into the rhythm of this. I'm going to stop the recording.